All right, good morning. We are back with another episode of Reaching Heroes. Today, talking with my good friend Carrie Grace, who she's a firefighter. So we're adding first responders to the Reaching Heroes concept. So definitely want to hear stories from not only veterans but also law enforcement, firefighters, and anybody who can be looked up to as a hero, really. So EMT professionals as well. So Carrie was also the principal at a school that I once briefly taught financial literacy at, and that was a major adventure for me, as it was for her as well. So I want to let Carrie introduce herself. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, first, I am just really excited to be here with you and speaking with you. And I'm just genuinely humbled. To hear the word hero is just a little, weird, but I'm truly humbled to be here with you and to be able to, just have a dialogue. It'll be fun, I think.
You are humble, and that's why hero is a weird word for you. But you are a hero. You're absolutely one of many important heroes, and also in my life too, because I look up to you as well. You've
Aw.
got a lot of inspirational things to share, and I know we're going to dig into some of those things. But yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, some of the
Sure.
highlights of your experiences?
Sure. So, when I went to college, I didn't want to go to college. My mom really pushed me into it. I wanted to be a firefighter. And so when I went to college, I wasn't really taking it seriously. I ended up really enjoying it. I learned a lot, mostly through a volunteer organization called Bonner Responds, where we would go to different places and do a lot of disaster relief work. Um, and so I learned a lot through like hands-on throughout college. I graduated with a degree in pre-law and philosophy. And then right out of college, somehow I just started teaching. Got married shortly after college, had our first baby. And then I decided I still really wanted to be a firefighter. So we got pregnant with our second son. And I thought, hey, what better time, So 8 weeks after our second son, Jameson, was born, I went into the fire academy. And obviously, my husband is a saint because he had a newborn, where I was teaching full time and then going to fire school in the evenings and then on Saturdays. So it was really, really hectic, but really, really awesome. And then I started working at Woodmere Fire Department part time, and as well as teaching. And I ended up coming to Cleveland and taking a assistant principal position at St. Francis School in Cleveland, and I absolutely loved it. Shortly after, I became the principal, and here we are. So that was just a really quick, synopsis.
I love that. I love it. So a lot of things that I want to touch on real quick here. So you mentioned the volunteer organization. What was the name of that organization?
It's called Bonner Responds.
Bana Responds?
Bonner Responds. So the college that I went to is called St. Bonaventure University.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so Jim Mahar is actually the finance director, and he started the organization Bonner Responds, which is a nonprofit to help anyone who's really struggling. Like he's brought Bonner Response to Cleveland a couple of times to help with St. Francis, and it's been phenomenal. So
What are some of the I guess some of the most impactful projects that you've worked with Bana Responds to help solve, or just some of the highlights from that organization?
yeah. Oh, I could talk about Bonner Response all day.
I'm sure
So
you could.
one of my favorite trips was we went to Biloxi, and we were helping a family who their whole farm had been demolished by Katrina, and it was maybe 3 years, 4 years after. I can't even remember how long after, but they were still in just such turmoil. And so we went and we camped out and we just helped rebuild their farm. And it was just an amazing experience because I got to really know these people who, they were just such kind-hearted people and they'd been through so much. And to see them be so appreciative of us being there was just, it's like, oh my goodness, it was huge. Their dad was, I mean, one of the hardest working people I've ever seen, like up at the crack of dawn working. Like he had, the calloused hands, and
Oh yeah.
just so much to learn from him. And he was actually really sick, so he had a terminal illness, and they knew that he wasn't going to be around for much longer. And it was just, their story just kept getting more and more amazing the more I got to know them and work with them. And I just felt like it was so impactful, not only to learn a lot of skills with building, but also just the skill of having grace through tough situations. So yeah.
That's that wow, and that's definitely something that we need more of. That's
Yeah.
there's just no shortage of people in need and people in just
Right.
rough situations that could use a helping hand. Is that where you got your handy woman skills?
So that's where it first started, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. Like my mom, she actually was just telling Evan, my husband, that she was like, I wasn't gonna let her do Bada Responds, but she really convinced me. And she's like, that was the best money I put front ever for her. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, so it really, like, the thing
Wow.
that I loved about it was before Bonner Responds, I had no, like, even understanding that you could do those things. Like I always, like, that's something that someone else does, and there it is, and then it's in front of me. But Bonner Response started opening my mind, like, roofing, okay, cool. I'm extremely scared of heights, so it gave me the opportunity to, like, overcome crazy fears too. We were roofing, like, the houses in Louisiana, you know how they're on stilts,
Oh yeah.
like up, like, I just, it was, and I learned how much fun it was, and just how important it was, and it was really cool. So yes, to longly answer your question.
Oh, I love that. No, I think that's and you make a good point there. Yeah, there's definitely people that do that for a living. There's roofers, there's flooring people, there's people that can help build and do the things that Bonner Responds does and
Yeah.
that you've done with them. But there's also people like you who just like, wow, like this needs to get done. I'm just gonna go do it, and I'm gonna do the best I can and figure it out along the way. And
Yeah.
I've always been impressed by that
Mm,
about you. When I
yeah.
when I see something that needs to get done around my house, I call an expert. I have them do it. I call you. I call people like you. I mean, you're building an entire like structure in your backyard right now,
Yeah,
which
I'm
I
working
love as
on it.
well.
I'm
Yeah.
working. The one thing I do, I have to call an electrician. Like that
Okay.
is one thing where, and Evan is really good. Like he knows and he's comfortable. But for me, I'm like, oh, electricity.
That's a little scary. They go to school, they get certified for a
Yeah,
reason. So I get it. I wouldn't want to roll the dice on any
right.
electrical work either. But definitely impressive. You mentioned St. Bonaventure College.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, a really great organization associated with your school. What other events, I guess, highlights about the college? Anything else that you'd like to share?
I just loved St. Bonaventure is a really small university. It's in Olean, New York, so it's only like 3.5 hours away from Cleveland, which makes it perfect because I felt far enough away, but not like too far. So it was really cool, and there are quite a few people from like the Cleveland area that attend St. Bonaventure. So we had like a little Cleveland community. Um, so that was really cool. I just felt like it was very tight knit, very family, like community oriented. It was really easy to find, different groups. I started playing rugby at St.
Okay.
Bonaventure, which I'd never even heard of before. And then I started playing and I fell in love with it. And it was just like the best thing in the entire world. And so it just really opened my eyes to so many different people and so many different experiences. And it was just really cool. Like I ran a soup kitchen at St. Bonaventure. With again another like volunteer group, and it was a great way to really learn in a comfortable way how desperately other people need you, but how much you still need to learn. So
Yeah.
I love the community. The campus is beautiful. It's like on acres of land with woods and trails, and you
Oh man.
know it's amazing. So it's in the mountains, so I mean, you know can't
Snowboarding,
say things. Yeah,
your favorite
Holiday
things to
Valley
do.
is like 30
Yeah.
minutes away. It's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. Yep.
Man.
Amazing.
Yeah. It just Carrie is tough. Carrie is you are a very tough person. Rugby, firefighting,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you are a principal. I would not have been acting out in class knowing that
No.
you could be walking the halls and you'd pop it in anytime, getting ready to tackle me because I'm not paying attention or I'm not following the rules. So
Uh,
definitely definitely don't want to mess with Miss Grace. So um, and so the other thing that stood out to me as well, you got through college, you started teaching, you started going to fire school, you started having kids. Obviously, there's you bite off as much as you could possibly chew, and it just always seems like there's still more left on the apple. There's always more that you can do for whatever reason. It just boggles my mind all the time. But that was a lot. That was a lot. What was that like?
it was thrilling. I mean, it
Yeah,
was, you know, I feel the reason why I like being busy is so you feel alive. I love that. And when I was in the fire academy, we had to take the one class on personalities and how the majority of us are type A personalities. And they went into all this like, we love danger, blah, blah, blah. And I was just kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, but it's fun. Like, it's also fun. There's like, yes, it's a dangerous profession, but there's so much unity, which is what I love. The fact that you can feel so connected to people, which is what life's all about. If you're not able to give back and really just live in those relationships, I there's really nothing to it. Yeah. So I just feel like the more you're able to learn about yourself and other people, it really takes you to all new places. So I felt like it went so fast. I can't believe that it's already in the past, like it's just, and I'm just excited about all the other things to come. So
and
yeah.
we're about to get into that as well. We're about to touch on the exciting adventure that you're about to be that you're already starting to embark on. But any other proud moments that you wanted to mention that we may have missed before we start going into that new adventure?
I think I'm proud of being able to overcome, difficult situations and use that to grow closer to God and to better myself. I think, you know, that is a tough thing to do. And I think people often feel victimized or they'll dwell in issues where, as the things that I've been thrown have really taught me that that's just not an option. Like you can't you can't sit there and feel sorry for yourself no matter what is happening. And I mean, we all have those moments, where you're like, oh man, like poor me. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, how do you continuously try and improve on that? And so that is something that I'm proud of, and being able to recognize that, because I went through a really tough, depressing time in college. And it was a person who had been through hell and back that had this amazing glow. Her name was Emma, and I went to a United Nations conference in New York City, and it was they had this huge display for the women of Rwanda. And so Emma, like, I remember walking into the building and seeing this woman. I was like, wow, she's glowing. She's just beautiful. And then I was like, yeah, I don't know who that is. And then I sat down, and sure enough, she walks up onto the stage. And I was just like, wow. She started talking, and she was so excited and so positive. But the things that she was talking about, I was like bawling, like, oh my gosh, this woman, I don't understand how she's still even, mentally sound. And she's talking about how she got her master's and her daughters got her, and it was the glow for me. It was the genuine love of life and hope that I realized that's what I wanted to be. Like, and you can't be that if you're going to feel sorry for yourself ever. And so I'm really proud of being able to reshift my mind and really focus on being better in that way. And I'm also really proud of just my husband and who he is and how supportive he is, and our family, and the fact that we are able to be who we are because of who he is. And I think that is something that I've always been really proud of, but I'm just going to continue to be really proud of. So, and I'm really proud that he was able to overcome a lot of things that he's had to overcome, and he's just that person that I get to learn from and really, really grow with. And so I'm really proud of that too.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys are a perfect example of a family that comes together when you need to the most. And you've got 5 boys.
5 boys.
You've
Mm-hmm.
got you've got an incredible husband, one of my best friends, Evan
Mm-hmm.
Grace, definitely an awesome dude, and great supporting family members and friends that come around when you guys need them the most. And
Yeah.
you're always there for us too when we need somebody, and when others reach out. So well, we all appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, but I'm going to shift some gears here to
Okay. Shift
that
away.
next big adventure that's coming up. So tell us what that's about.
So yeah, I'm really excited because I'm on the path, the journey of starting a school in Cleveland. It's set to open in 2025. It's called St. Bonaventure Academy. And I am thrilled at the possibilities and the partnerships and the adventure of it, uh, especially when we're considering the mission and the fact that it just hits so close to home. And it's so, I'm just so passionate about it that it is something that I am thrilled to be doing. And I know it's going to be a difficult process, but I also know that it is 100% going to be worth it. And so it will be a boarding school in Cleveland, and the way that it really developed was over the past 10 years. I've had the opportunity to truly observe families and students and teachers and their frustrations, their struggles. And in that, I recognized that there were quite a few things that were frustrations for everybody, but we just did not have control over. One of them is, absenteeism, tardiness, not turning in homework, those kinds of things created frustrations for everyone. And so this boarding component was really just a way to kind of regain some of that control, because oftentimes the connections that some of the teachers weren't making were the students that were having those issues were students who were coming from inconsistent home lives, or they were struggling with different traumas. And so in order to actually fix the problem, to be able to give them that stability and that structure and that place where they can go to always and feel loved, is, I think, a game changer. And so this is just a great way to provide that. And I think about specific students that I've had over the years who would have benefited from something like this, would have benefited from being able to just go to a place where they felt safe, and they didn't have to move all over the place, or they didn't have to worry about who was picking them up and how they were going to get treated when they got picked up, or if they were going to get picked up. And so those students were the ones who were really on my mind in thinking of this boarding component. Now, there's obviously also huge opportunities with it, because now we can incorporate international studies. And so another thing that I felt my students and my community has always struggled with is that worldly view, that understanding of the importance behind other cultures and what they have to offer. And so being able to expose my students to these opportunities, I think it's just huge. It will give them just another perception that I feel that they have not been awarded, and so that international studies part is very, very crucial for the development of any society. I feel like if you want to be in a society where you're working together for a common goal, you have to better understand people and their differences, and you have to appreciate those differences. And if you don't have the opportunity to be able to do that, then you're not going to be successful. And so that is really where that component came from. And then with St. Bonaventure University, Bona Responds does work with quite a few schools in Haiti and the Bahamas, where those students are struggling a lot and they don't have a lot and they need more, and they would love to have an opportunity like this. So there's just so many different opportunities to be able to bring people together and really build a community of love and grit and hard work and service. And I'm just really excited about it. And I think another component, which is huge, that has always been lacking within Cleveland, is the intervention piece. So over the years as an administrator, I've worked really hard in collaboration with our intervention coordinator to develop a really, really sound intervention program. And what we realized is, yes, students are being way over diagnosed, but at the same time, there needs to be a solution to that. And so what we did was we really worked at structuring a program where there's a pre-evaluation process, and we offer supports through that pre-evaluation process. But then we also are working in collaboration with Cleveland to make sure that our students are getting identified for a learning specialty if they need that. And so it was a huge component that I hadn't even recognized was something that was lacking in so many different educational institutions, until we started having people flock to us because of our intervention programming. And then it was kind of like, oh, wow, let's do some research. And then I really started seeing that it is something that in urban communities is very neglected. So that is also a huge component. And then another one that I'm really excited about is being able to do something called blended learning, which is an implementation style of curriculum. So what it is it's like more Montessori based. And so I taught, pre-kindergarten and kindergarten. And so we had a lot of movement. We needed a lot of movement to get those little brains moving and flowing. And so the idea behind blended learning is to really kind of like refocus every 30 minutes. And what studies show is attention span wise that really helps students, and it opens them up. And with the way that blended learning is set up is there's a lot of one-on-one, which you don't get in a traditional classroom. And then there's a lot of independent work, which calls for students to take accountability and really build that classroom society. And then there's computer work. And as we know, in today's society, computers are huge, and our students really need to learn how to navigate that technology in the best way possible. So I'm really excited about that aspect as well. When we had blended learning at St. Francis, we saw from 2018, winter of 2018 to 2020, so right before COVID hit, we took those test results, and we had been a blended learning school that whole time. And the improvement that we saw was a 400% increase in growth for reading, and 100% increase in growth for math proficiency. And that's huge. And so I also, as an administrator, noticed behavioral improvements, and it was just a beautiful thing. And so I'm excited to bring that to St. Bonaventure Academy too, and really get the students engaged in some hands-on learning. And then there's just, how my mind works. There's just so many other opportunities with getting students involved in the community, with getting the community involved in the school. And I'm just really looking forward to the partnerships and the positivity and the success that's going to come out of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you certainly have a unique perspective coming from St. Francis School in an urban environment where challenges are maybe a little bit more unique than the average school.
Yeah.
So you got to live through those and experience those challenges and try things that helped improve those challenges firsthand. And now you're going to be able to do it your way, just like you going to build that roof yourself. You're going to build that school. You're going to make that happen, which is awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah.
There's so many things to look forward to. I guess, what are some things that at this point in the process for you, what are some things that you resources or things that you could use help with? What types of things are you looking for right now?
Yeah. So right now, I think it's really just keeping the momentum going and just getting the word out there about the school. And right now we are on a fundraising campaign. So we're just raising funds to be able to get the school up and going. And then really it's about navigating the right partnerships and the right people and putting the right people in the right places. And that's what I'm really excited about because that's what I love doing as an administrator, working with people and figuring out what their strengths are and figuring out who to put them with to, build on those strengths. And so I'm excited about that. So right now it's really just talking about the need in Cleveland and really how the school is going to be able to positively affect that need.
So yeah, so a lot of awareness, a lot of
Mhm.
talking about the problems and talking about the solution that St. Bonaventure Academy is going to provide,
Mhm.
which is awesome. So,
Yeah.
well, we're on the free version of Zoom, as I mentioned. So we're starting to run out of time. We got about 9 minutes left. I want to make sure, first and foremost, that we didn't miss anything important. I've got that last question I'm going to ask you here in a moment, but anything else that we need to make sure we touch on before we start to wrap up?
I don't think so. I feel like I've just been blabbing for a very long time. So I don't think I missed anything.
Well, I mean, that was your one job for this conversation was to blab. So you did it. You've accomplished the task. I appreciate that. This is about you.
Right.
This is about St. Bonaventure Academy and the things that you're going to be achieving here in the future. Um, so I'm going to ask you the question then, and I think you might have touched on it a little bit already, but if you could take your current version of yourself today and go back to a period of time where a younger Carrie Grace was in need, what moment would you go to, and what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah. So I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit.
Okay.
Um, I think what I've learned is that changing the past would be damaging to what is already set in motion. And so I don't think, like, knowing all the things that I want to say to myself and I want to guide myself in to make it easier, I think the difficulties behind all of those experiences have led me to be who I am and on the path to who I'm supposed to be. And so I don't think I would go. I don't think I would go. I would say, hey, you know what? Let her struggle.
Keep struggling through it, and
Yeah.
I can see that. And I mean, you're very good at leaning on people. You know, you're not afraid to ask for help. You're not afraid to seek the advice that you need when you need it, um, and you're not afraid to share it when somebody needs it. So um, that advice component is great because there's so many people out there that have been there and done that, and we can look up to them and find the help that we need when we need it most. So um, we don't have to go back in time because
Yeah.
there's somebody in our lives right now that we can go to when
Yeah.
we need it. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
well, Carrie, I really appreciate you giving me time to have this conversation today, and I'm looking forward to getting this uploaded on LinkedIn
Love it.
and sharing it with the world of those in the community that can hopefully help make this even more impactful.
Yeah. Love it. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I love being here.
Yes, I love being here too. It's great. It's a great place to be. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna wrap this up here then. I'm gonna hang out here with you for a few minutes after we're done, but it's been a great talk.
Cool.
Cheers.